Welcome to Dark Fears. Tonight, we delve into the shadows.
The first thing Lena did when she got home from the thrift store was to clear a space of honor on her cluttered bookshelf. She gently placed the Labubu doll there, between a stack of graphic novels and a potted succulent. She tilted its head just so, making sure the singular, mischievous eye was visible beneath the shock of wild blue hair. "You're way too cute to have been donated," she murmured, tracing the smooth vinyl curve of its cheek with a finger. It was one of the Explorer series, clad in a tiny tan jacket, its one large eye wide with wonder, the other side of its face scrunched in a playful, toothy grin. It had a presence, a weight in her hand that felt more significant than its size suggested. Her apartment, a studio that often felt too quiet after her breakup, seemed a little less empty with it there. For 3 days, it was just a doll, a quirky, beautiful art toy. She'd glance at it while working from her laptop at the dining table, and its perpetual grin would feel like a silent piece of companionship. It was on the 4th night that the first thing happened. Lena woke up thirsty, the digital clock on her bedside table casting a faint red glow, 3:18 a.m. The city outside was silent. As she shuffled back from the kitchen, glass of water in hand, she froze. The Labubu doll was no longer on the bookshelf. A jolt of pure adrenaline shot through her. Her heart hammered against her ribs. She flicked on the main light, squinting in the sudden brightness. There it was. It was sitting squarely in the middle of her small dining table, directly in front of her chair. Its position wasn't random. It looked deliberate, placed. "Okay, you're sleepwalking," she whispered to herself, her voice shaky. "You got up, you moved it, and you don't remember." It was the only logical explanation. She must have been browsing toy collector forums before bed. It was on her mind. She picked the doll up. Its vinyl was cool to the touch, and returned it to the shelf, this time pushing it back against the wall so it was snug between 2 books, a precaution against her own unconscious self. The next morning, it was on the table again. This time, it was holding something. Clutched in its small, painted hand was a single, rusty-looking button Lena had never seen before. It looked old, like it had come off a military greatcoat decades ago. Her breath caught in her throat. This was not sleepwalking. This was impossible. She didn't touch the button. She stared at the doll, its cheerful, lopsided grin now seeming sinister, its one wide eye less wonder-filled and more observant. She left it there all day, a terrifying centerpiece to her apartment. She tried to work, but her focus was shattered. Every few minutes, her eyes would dart back to it. The urge to throw it in the dumpster was powerful, but a stronger, more morbid curiosity held her back. Where did the button come from? That night, she took a video of the bookshelf with her phone, propping it on a stack of books to record the spot where the doll should be. She didn't sleep. She lay in bed, watching the red numbers of the clock change, listening to the hum of her refrigerator. She heard nothing. No tiny footsteps, no rustling, just the oppressive silence of the night. At 5 a.m., exhausted, she finally drifted into a fitful sleep. When she woke, the phone had stopped recording, its battery dead. Her heart thudding, she rushed to the main room. The doll was on the bookshelf, right where it belonged. A wave of relief, so potent it made her knees weak, washed over her. It had been sleepwalking, a stress-induced, elaborate hallucination. She practically wept with relief. She charged her phone, laughing at her own paranoia. She was about to delete the video to free up space when she decided to watch just the first minute to see her own foolish self setting up the camera. She pressed play. The video showed her bookshelf, perfectly still. The timestamp in the corner advanced second by agonizing second. She fast-forwarded. Nothing. For nearly 7 hours, nothing moved. Her relief solidified into certainty. She was about to close it when she saw it. At the 7-hour, 12-minute, and 44-second mark, the video jittered. Not much, just a slight blur, as if a very low-frequency sound had vibrated through the floor. And in that single blurred frame, the doll was gone. It didn't move, it didn't walk, it simply vanished from the shelf. One frame it was there, the next it wasn't. The video continued to show the empty spot for the remaining hours. Then another almost imperceptible jitter at the 8-hour, 3-minute, and 0-second mark. And it was back. Lena's blood ran cold. This wasn't sleepwalking. This wasn't a prank. This was something else, something that operated in the spaces between seconds. She didn't know what to do. Who could she tell? They'd think she was insane. She thought about destroying it, but a superstitious fear gripped her. What if angering it made it worse? She settled on containment. She found an old, clear plastic storage bin with a clasp lid. She opened it, grabbed the Labubu doll with a kitchen towel, avoiding its touch, and placed it inside. She slammed the lid shut, clicking the latches into place. It looked absurd, a toy in a quarantine chamber. She shoved the whole bin into the back of her deepest closet, burying it under a pile of winter sweaters. For 2 days, the silence felt normal. The air in her apartment lost its charged, watchful quality. She could breathe again. On the third evening, she was scrolling through a forgotten corner of a toy forum, looking for any mention of haunted Labubus, and found nothing but jokes. Frustrated, she got up to make tea. As she waited for the kettle to boil, her eyes absently scanned the room and landed on her bookshelf. There, in its original spot of honor, was the Labubu doll. It wasn't possible. The box is still in the closet. She knows it. She'd just seen it. A high, thin whine of pure terror began in her ears. Her body moved on numb, automatic legs to the closet. She shoved the sweaters aside. The plastic bin was there. The lid was still clasped shut. It was empty. She backed away, stumbling into her room, her breath coming in short, ragged gasps. It was toying with her. It had never been about being moved. It was about demonstrating its power. It could be anywhere it wanted, anytime it wanted. Her sanctuary had become its playground. She collapsed on her bed, pulling the covers over her head like a child, as if the thin fabric could protect her. She cried, hot, terrified tears of utter helplessness. She must have cried herself to sleep, because the next thing she knew, she was waking up. Sunlight was streaming through her windows. She was alive. Nothing had happened. Had it all been a nightmare? A stress dream so vivid that it felt real? She pushed the covers off and sat up, swinging her legs over the side of the bed to stand. Her bare foot came down not on the cool hardwood floor, but on something small and hard and unmistakable. She knew even before she looked. Slowly, mechanically, she looked down. The Labubu doll was on the floor, lying on its back, staring up at the ceiling. Clutched in its hand wasn't a button this time. It was a single, long strand of dark hair, her hair. And then she saw its head move. It wasn't a jerk. It was a slow, deliberate, smooth rotation on the vinyl of its neck. Its wide, painted eye turned from the ceiling, swiveling until it was looking directly at her. The playful, toothy grin seemed to widen infinitesimally, the painted lines of its mouth stretching into something knowing and utterly, deeply wrong. Lena couldn't scream. She couldn't move. She could only stare back, trapped in the gaze of this thing that had chosen her. The doll's free hand, the one not holding her hair, twitched. Then, with a tiny plastic click, its finger uncurled and slowly, deliberately pointed directly at her.